Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a while, but I feel like I have to apologize for that jontron video that I made, where I defended jontron. It was before he had his debate with Destiny, so I couldn't have possibly known what he was yet to have said, or what he actually believed. Um, Now he came out with this half-assed apology video that he posted on Twitter, where he basically said that since he was under a lot of pressure, he said things that he didn't actually believe. You don't accidentally say something several times in a row, again and again and again, just because you're put under pressure and actually don't believe what you're saying. John said several absolutely reprehensible and disgusting things. They're not. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but it's still really, really bad. Um, it's not. It's not like his image is just irredeemable, but it is. The shit he said is pretty fucking bad. Um, so in his debate with Destiny, he said several times, basically equated crime rates, the crime rates that you see in the United States, where the majority of crimes are committed by black people. He equated that statistic with it being a just genetic race thing, and he said that several times. Now, the actual reason for that is because of stuff like gentrification, the fact that we enslaved black people for years and left them in such a bad way, even after they were freed. It's the majority of black people in this country are poor, because there's a lot of racism, not necessarily in the federal government, but racism racism on the hands of employers who are employing people. So, and if you look at crime rates, he says that rich black people commit more crimes than poor whites, which is completely incorrect because crime rates are actually based on class. Poor people commit more crimes because they need more. And since there are more poor black people, the statistic just looks that way. That's not actually the truth of how things are. Then he brings up Africa when Destiny tries to shoot his point down. Um, Africa is still kind of a developing country. The citizens are largely poor and starving. So it's just that's also a class-based thing. There's no connotation between black people and criminality. That's completely ridiculous and completely stupid and extremely racist on John's part. Now, I love John to pieces. His content is amazing. I love his videos, but I can't sit here and I can't sit here and say nothing about the shit he's saying just because I like his fucking content. I'm still gonna watch what he puts out, but seriously, I just can't. I can't stand the just sit idly by while he says all this shit. Like just Destiny said some stupid things too, like Japan being the most racist country in the world. Japan was racist in the past, sure, but they're a healing country now. They're trying to get past their racial issues. They still have some racial issues, but mainly, um, the general public consensus is very anti-LGBT there. That's the bigger problem, other than race. Like, race isn't a huge problem in Japan anymore, like it was in the 20th century. Japan is now largely anti-LGBT, so they're not the most racist country in the world. They're not necessarily violently anti-LGBT, but the majority of people in Japan are not in favor of gay marriage. Um, so yeah, it's not necessarily it's not like the KKK level anti-LGBT, but it is it is indeed there. It is underlying in their society. But that doesn't make them an extremely awful country. In fact, even though they're further back, in the line of progress that we're not. We basically regressed. Like the second Donald Trump got elected, we regressed. Like, I mean, yeah, we still have gay rights, but socially we regressed when Donald Trump was elected. So we don't really have much higher ground in the United States. There's a lot of hate crimes here, so it's not any better. Really, you're just looking at it from the wrong way. And secondly, this is another really stupid thing that John said. John said that American interests are white interests, which is completely ridiculous because America, the United States of America, is built on immigration, and that's what the country is built on. Immigrants back in the past, in the 1800s, immigrants were building our economy. Immigrants were the reason for our industrial revolution, our big transition in the modern world. So you can't necessarily say that just white interests are American interests, because that's simply false. The American interests is the interests of everybody living in the United States of America. That's the same with every country. Every single country on the face of the earth, their interests are the interests of the people living inside of the country, not the race of the majority of the people living inside that country. And he also pushes this point that white people are underrepresented, and that how they vote is getting blown out of the water by Hispanic and black people, which is just once again completely false, because I think like 70 something, early 70% of this country is white, so you can't necessarily use that argument. But if anything, the American interests are Native American interests, because we came here, we fucking raped the land, we stole it from the Native Americans and claimed it as our own. So if anything, the interests of America should be the interests of the people who are here first, the people who were native to this land before it broke off from Pangea. These were the people that were here, the Native Americans. So that's why it should be their interest, because this is their land. This isn't our land, and this will always really be their land because we just stole it from them. But jontron fails to see a lot of this because he just thinks of it as American interests or white interests, since white people are the majority in the United States of America. Therefore, everything we do has to be in the interest of white people. Now, I don't necessarily think things should be done in the interest of certain races. I think everything should be voted for, and not in that sense. I don't mean necessarily voted for as in every single thing we do has to go through a democratic process, because that'd just be tiresome, and in the end it would end up with nobody voting. But what I mean is, it should be in the interest of the body of people in general, rather than just certain races, unless there's certain races that are at a disadvantage. Now, there's no necessarily, the federal government at this point isn't disadvantaging certain races. But if you look at payment charts, it will seem that way, but that just has to do with like what jobs are held by those people of certain races. But I'm not going to get into that. That might be for another time. But seriously, John, I love you to pieces. Your content's great. Everything you put out on YouTube has a lot of time spent on it. It's quality content, but really, man, you said some racist, disgusting shit in that debate with Destiny, and I can't stand to see that. I don't like seeing people like you, content creators like you, say stupid shit like that and then, you know, lose their fan base. Not only that, I don't like to see people say dumb shit. And John, I mean, you gotta admit, you said some dumb shit, and your half-assed apology doesn't count for anything. I'll still watch your content, but really, you need to get educated. I can see that you have a very blanket understanding of politics and what you have to say. But really, you need more research, and you need to talk to more intelligent people than just the people that you find on 4chan and Reddit. So, that's all, guys. John, if you're watching this,